Thank you, Mr. Speaker. It's 5 miles long and it connects our two peninsulas. It's double-walled, caisson foundations, deep down into solid rock, 210 feet below the surface. Each watertight caisson section, 44 feet high and 116 feet in diameter. The grout tubes were placed 20 feet apart from the surface of the water to the bottom. Aggregate was then placed around the pipes to a height of 40 feet on each section so that the interior of the caisson was solid, like concrete. The two foundations in which the massive cables are anchored measured 115 by 135 feet, approximately 1/3 the size of a football field. 750,000 pounds of the 1 million tons of concrete and steel in the substructure are underwater. 4 years, 3,500 workers, 350 engineers, and 7,500 more souls in the quarries, mills, and shops which supplied the materials, 895,000 blueprints, 71,300 tons of structural steel, 931,000 tons of concrete, 42,000 miles of cable wire, 4,851,700 steel rivets, 1,016,600 steel bolts, and tragically, the lives of 3 men who perished during its construction. Designed to withstand a described infinite amount of wind plus other forces of nature, this singular feat of engineering has vastly improved commerce between Michigan's Upper Peninsula and Lower Peninsula, which had previously been almost 2 separate states economically, politically, and culturally. Quote, "Linking the two peninsulas together has been by far the greatest accomplishment of the Mackinac Bridge," said the administrator of the Mackinac Bridge Authority. The Mackinac Bridge is now rightly described as an engineering marvel and hailed across the globe. Its benefit to our economy, commerce, tourism are unquestioned and unrivaled by any other span in our nation. Yet I ask, with the specifications I outlined above, if the mighty Mac were a proposal today, would that ambitious yet desperately needed necessary project earn overwhelming support in this chamber? Consider the Energy Corridor Tunnel, 4 miles long as proposed, and would be built up to 100 feet below the bedrock in the channel and create once and for all a sustainable and environmentally sound solution to the twin pipelines which have rested on the lakebed since 1953, a full 4 years prior to the opening of the Mackinac Bridge. I speak as a member not from the Upper Peninsula or Northern Michigan, but I will admit some fatigue to the many voices from policymakers, from our administration, our Attorney General, who themselves face no critical disruption, yet are sending the message to population groups in our state that the critical energy needs for they and their families don't matter as much as scoring ideological points with activist groups. I ask again, were the Mackinac Bridge proposed today, with its massive caissons, talks of 750,000 tons of underground concrete and steel, would these same activist groups be supportive or even open to the conversation? I would suggest that they would most assuredly be opposed to that bridge and reason it far better to let those people up there continue to ferry across by their thousands each day. My fellow legislators, please consider the larger picture of this situation. We can be both bold and sensible in Michigan, and we have done so before. If these arguments aren't enough, and given that we're in an era where data and science are weighed so heavily in decision-making, I have some data points to share with the body. An expert study commissioned by the state said the plan would make the risk of a future oil spill, quote, unquantifiably low. Experts also estimate that 0 additional trucks would be required for hauling energy should the tunnel be completed. This an alternative to the many thousands chugging across the bridge, spouting diesel fumes, should the cries of "shut it down" be heeded, and we face a shortage of 750,000 gallons of propane alone each day. These same experts estimate a 0% chance of a future anchor strike should the tunnel be constructed, with its design also providing access to ongoing inspection and maintenance work. In fact, these same experts were willing to go as far as 0.00% in their estimate as to the likelihood of a future anchor strike. Now, that's a little tongue-in-cheek, I know, but I like those odds. This is also a pro-labor project. The business manager for the Michigan Laborers District Council said it best in a recent editorial on behalf of that trade union, which has worked over 17 million hours on pipeline projects throughout the state, which I feel grants them some pretty good credentials. Quote, "It's a project that means safer lakes, reliable energy, and more high-wage jobs." He goes on, "There is an overwhelming consensus that the right move for Michigan, for the Great Lakes, and for our state's energy needs is construction of a new tunnel. We support it in the UP, where we rely on the propane moving through this line to heat our homes and job sites. We support it in Detroit and across the Lower Peninsula, where the fuel and pipeline provide power to industries that provide nearly 50,000 jobs." Well said. A vote for this resolution is a statement that the needs of all of our residents matter, that their access to critical energy resources matter, that we applaud the engineering and innovation which has come to fruition to make this sustainable and environmentally sound proposal, and that we have continued confidence in our skilled workers and union tradesmen who are poised to make it a reality. In this one moment in a year marked with division and partisanship, and with your help, let's send our colleagues up there and the people they serve home this week able to report that this chamber put the needs of their people over politics. I urge a yes vote. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.